Austin Cindric is in his third full-time season in the NASCAR Cup Series. He introduced himself in style during his rookie year back in 2022, winning the season-opening Daytona 500. He hasn't won a race since. I visited with the 25-year-old Team Penske driver this week, and we talked about his career thus far, how he grades it, why that first year was the perfect opportunity for him to capitalize in the sport, and what he thought about Kevin Harvick's remarks last weekend at Darlington on his car being a fail for Throwback Weekend. First of all, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about your upcoming sponsorship with Keystone Light at the All-Star race. Kind of talk to me about that.
Yeah, obviously looking forward to getting back in the blue Deuce. That's what it's all about. That's kind of where things start with this car, right? And definitely cool to be do a few races with these guys and obviously the long-standing partnership. So it's exciting. I think the race car looks great. We got the stars and stripes paint scheme on it, which matches their packaging for the summer. So just about the right time with Memorial Day weekend coming up.
Right. Let's go back to Sunday's race and Throwback Weekend at Darlington. And you had the Freightliner was your paint scheme. And I don't know, did you by chance hear what Kevin Harvick had to say about you and Joey's paint schemes during qualifying?
Well, I heard, I mean, there's opinions of whether or not throwbacks or not throwbacks or whatever
Right.
else. I mean, it is throwback weekend, and if you don't have a throwback, then you didn't join the party, and we obviously didn't join the party, and some people don't like that.
Yeah, well, I know he said it was a fail but Mike Joy said you were throwing it forward with the Freightliner EV. So I guess the question I have is what kind of goes into the process? Do you have a say in it? Is it team? Is it company? How does that work? What is the process for deciding if you're going to go throwback or not?
Well, I think it's yes to all the above, right? Like I think everybody has to kind of agree on things, right? I mean, our sponsors are sponsoring the races, so I think it's ultimately up to them as far as if they want to do it or not. But I've always been a believer that if you don't have like a good idea and something that can be executed extremely well, like that and the Freightliner paint scheme is probably one of our better or one of our best looking cars, and it's just the way it goes sometimes. And it just so happened that this year, all three of us didn't end up being that way. As far as the throwing it forward and all that, I think that was probably all very misinterpreted. But either way, not I wouldn't necessarily call it a fail, but it was a lack of participation this time around.
So as for the race, Ford ended the drought. And I'm just curious, was there a sense of relief just for you being a Ford driver, knowing that after 13 weeks, all the talk has been Ford hasn't won, and now Ford has finally won. So is there a sense of relief that talking point kind of goes away now?
Yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys, as a race team, we want to be the ones winning those races. So,
Right.
I think for us, yeah, I think it's validation that the package that we have, is capable of running up front and winning races. So I think that alone gives you a lot to run with as a race team as far as areas to focus in. So. From that standpoint, yeah, great positive. Obviously, a lot of hard work in the offseason between for performance and really all of its teams with a collaborative effort to come out with this dark horse Ford Mustang and obviously get the first win right. The relevancy to the kind of the Xfinity and trucks and yeah, that kind of just compounds things as far as the storyline. But as far as the Cup Series goes, yeah, that's a combination of a lot of hard work and it's definitely great to see it finally get paid off.
Well, talk to me about what you did after the race. I saw that you left 2 Keystone Lights for Brad. Why'd you do that? What was the significance of that?
Um, I I feel like the significance is somewhat obvious, right? I mean, Brad kind of departed the team, and I took over the role of driving the two car, and you think all the success that he had driving the two car, and obviously at the end of his last couple of years there driving the Keystone Light Ford, and just it's something we'd kind of talked about, you know, between the two of us, like you know both be happy when we win in our new rides. And I think my my road to my first win in the two car and his road to his first win in the six car is kind of been a lot different. And obviously he and I are in completely different roles, with my career in the Cup Series just starting, and his role as a driver owner just starting. Yeah, I thought it was pretty fitting. I didn't get a chance to see him when I went over to the hauler, but I made sure to leave him something. And yeah, just you know, Brad certainly meant a lot to me in a lot of different roles, whether if it's as a teammate or as someone I just looked up to growing up, or even as a team owner for me in the past. So definitely cool to see Brad get the win.
Let's go to your season and through the first 13 races. So we're halfway through the regular season, 20th in points, average finishing position 23.5. You have 4 top 20s, your best finish of 4th at Atlanta. But then I take a closer look, and you've really had speed. You've got the 4 races where you've led. You finished inside the top 10 in 6 stages, and you've won a couple of those. So just kind of give me an assessment. Talk to me about your season so far.
Yeah, I mean the finishes have been frustrating, for sure, because I mean at the end of the day that's what gets you points. That's what your stat lines, or that, I mean that is what we do, right? We
Right.
try and race to get finishing positions. Like you want to, at the end of the day you want to win races. That's what motivates me. That's what gets me out of bed. So I think for me, I'm pleased with the progress of our team. I think starting off the year and really kind of the tail end of last year with a pretty young group, myself included, from an experience level, and really had an opportunity this offseason to kind of get the culture right on our team and be able to really figure out what we wanted to be and what we wanted to do, and how we were going to do it. And I've been very proud of the effort thus far, of kind of just trusting the process and not being afraid to fail in some instances. But when the execution's been there, and we've just, there's been a lot of like kind of dumb stuff that's happened throughout the year. I mean, that's racing too. Like, especially if you're racing in that like 10th to 20th range. I mean, that's the hornet's nest, and that's usually where the all the bad stuff usually happens. Like Kansas, for example, we had a solid day all day, maybe a chance to run in the top 10, and you get into a wreck. And we've had a lot of we have had some issues this year with just being able to get representative finishes, but the rest of that comes. I've been way more encouraged by what my team's shown me, and what I've been able to kind of step up on my own side of things. So I'm encouraged, but not satisfied. That's for sure.
Right. That one race at Atlanta, your best finish of the year, you had like the best seat in the house for this historic finish. So talk to me about that finish, because I know that we're getting all the talk about the Kansas race and the finish there, which was obviously historic, but you had a great seat to that one in Atlanta. Talk to me about that and kind of how it all transpired in front of you.
Yeah, I wish I would have had a better seat. I felt like we had a really great chance to win that race. Led quite a lot of laps, and felt like we had a car capable of winning that day. I felt like all 3 of our cars were that good. Obviously, Ryan coming really close there at the end. But yeah, I got in a tough aero spot, probably 10 laps prior, before the caution before that, and kind of found myself, out of the conversation for the win. But definitely had you know, a front row seat, like you said, to kind of watch that 3 wide. And I was just surprised Kyle was kind of able to thread the needle, entry to
Yeah.
3 to even make it 3 wide, or that was even kind of allowed by the 2 guys up front. To where that kind of just, oh my God, what's going to happen here? And, I'm in a weird position, because like I can't like just push the 99 car to the win, because I'm like behind him, and I got my teammate right underneath him, but I'm also getting shoved from the 5 cars behind me. So it was kind of awkward, honestly, just because more because I wanted to see the 12 car win pretty bad,
Right.
and that's obviously not what happened. But yeah, it was obviously an awesome race. I think it's definitely has the right mix of handling and of speed and drafting, to where the fans can see that we are struggling with the handling of the cars, but at the same time, you know, working the tactics of the draft. I mean, it's been fun to kind of see how that track's kind of worked its way into kind of its own unique style of racing. Not that I feel like we need more of those. We do go there twice, but the spotters, I think all of them felt like they were, had lived three races in the span of one by the time that was over.
Right. All right. So last question is, last year before CODA, I don't know if you remember this, but I asked you how challenging it was to live up to the expectations after winning your first start as a full-time driver in the 500, because you set the bar so high right out of the gate. Now here we are approaching the halfway mark of the third season, and you haven't returned to victory lane yet. So how do you assess in these 3 years your career so far?
Cup racing is hard to win. It is very hard to win, and it should be. I mean, we talk about it. The storylines are that this is as hard as it gets. These are the best drivers and the best teams, and you have to be perfect in a lot of areas to be able to give yourself a shot at winning races. And I feel like we've had a shot to win some races since. I mean, probably honestly a dozen. It sometimes it feels like,
Right.
but and it's frustrating because how rare those opportunities are. Even after winning the 500, I very much recognize how rare it is to find yourself in that position, let alone you know you know bring it home,
Sure.
without, something happening or making a mistake or, getting wrecked or, whatever happens. But so yeah, I think my assessment is a lot's changed with the car and the series. I thought I, throughout the approach to my rookie year and even throughout my entire rookie year, I was continuously told that by external you know sources that it was going to be the best year to be a rookie, and I strongly disagreed, like leading up to it and all the way through it, because you don't know if you're doing the right thing or not because everything's so new to everyone with the next gen car.
Right.
So I feel like I'm some days you didn't know if you were doing a good job or you were just ahead of the curve. Like, where's the learning curve versus where like you're actually at? And I feel like I learn at a pretty high rate, in a lot of ways, and I do my homework, and I feel like that definitely made for some really good days. But then there's other days where I didn't know what I was doing because in the Cup Series for the first time, and anyway, it just it's I feel like I'm just now getting to a process that I kind of believe in and understand, where my gains need to be made, where my weaknesses actually lie. And that's when you can go to work.
Right. All right, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time to visit with me. I wish you the best of luck this weekend at the All-Star race and your scheme with the Keystone Light guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.